Welcome, everyone, to
Good
the
evening, D1.
man. I tell you, I was a little taken back by the subject matter. At first when you said, "Hey, let's do this," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I went back and I watched the episode. I think it's our favorite episode of the topic, and I
Right.
forgot how good this actually was. Um,
How emotional it is the thing.
Oh man. Look, guys, we're really trying to get our show together. So we thought we would come to you as the detective badges. We are the dogs of Gotham, uh, the acronym of Detectives of Gotham. Two of us, plural, dogs. So as we start the show, what drew you, sir? What drew you to the whole Batman mythos, the 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 thing about Batman?
I mean, it boils down to the simple fact that you have um, this person who has no real abilities whatsoever, and he's out trying to help us the cops, uh, police Gotham or whatever. But the thing about is what it doesn't realize is we have to deal with not only the vigilante side of his stuff, but also the villains and everything. But what drew me into the Batman world of Gotham is the simple fact that it is somebody out there that at least is willing to help us out or help out Gotham and keep things on the up and up. So for that alone, I mean, Batman has always been a personal hero, and I'm always gonna stick with Batman.
Yeah, it was funny because when you and I came up with this idea for this, and then Kevin Conroy passed.
Oh God, that hurt.
Oh my God, yeah. I think you're the one who shared the news with me.
Yeah,
And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And of course, I went straight to the computer, and I'm just one of the guys I most wanted to get an autograph from because um, right after Batman Returns leaves the big screen, we get Batman the Animated Series.
right.
It is a return to prime time for the Cape Crusader, and this time he's not throwing out a batarang and the rope is going around the villains and they fall to the ground and all this other stuff. He's actually punching.
Yes,
He's dodging bullets.
it's a
Not
more raw Batman.
Yeah, definitely. Um, we have a Facebook. What drew me in was a rich dude who wanted to help the community. First folk in real life. Wow. Okay, that's yeah. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Um, we have a couple of viewers watching us right now. Um, and that show meant so much to me. I've collected comics. I've got most of the I've got most of the first run of Batman the Animated Adventures.
Right.
Um, I've got them all on Blu-ray. Oh, that was Rodney Santos.
Nice.
Uh, Three luchadors. Hey, Rodney. Thank you, Wyatt, for chiming in. Um, it was such a pivotal cartoon that stopped making Batman camp. Now, don't get me wrong. Adam West will ever forever be that Batman that drew me in. But as I got older, I needed that grit. I needed that, Batman to have a little bit of, you know, that
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And we got it with
It,
Michael Keaton in 1989.
well, yeah.
What were
Well,
you
everybody
saying?
says everybody says Michael Keaton is the best live action Batman. Which if you know me, I'm going to always debate that a little bit. But as far as animated Batman goes or what have you, Kevin Conroy is my Batman. I mean, plain and simple. And it's funny you mentioned, the with the animated side and the comic books because I actually have, and you've seen it on my wall, an original print Batman the Animated Series comic book, first edition. It is in a case. It is locked down. I did pay a very, very substantial amount of money for it. Um, I saved up and was able to purchase it, but I do have that, and I'm very. That is probably my, if I want to say my holy grail piece, that is my holy grail piece when it comes to Batman. Is that animated series comic book, and like you said, my whole thing that I always wanted was to have Kevin Conroy sign it, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen, and it will stay in its case the way it is for now.
Yeah, it's I've got the my thing were Batmobiles. Um, so I've got that Batman animated Batmobile, and it freaked me out when I got it because everything lights up on the side of the dash, the turbine engine with the with the fire supposed to come out, it all lights up and everything else. And I got it, I love it, but still nothing compares to that 1966 Batmobile. Um,
Absolutely.
I got that one. I've got two. I got one in a box and one for display, and I love it. And then, of course, I started playing Arkham Knight, and I've got that from San Diego Comic Con. And my wife got a little upset at me because that was $150 toy that was only going up in price, and I'm looking at it like it's coming out of that box. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
my stuff is not really for sale. It is for display. It is for me to pick up, turn it on, make it make sounds, and put it back down. So it's one of those things. But we have gathered here today to go over some files, and I believe, sir, you picked a good one with this one,
Yeah,
and we're
I
going.
believe this particular gang is, if you'll call them that, it is a nemesis of Batman. He definitely had his run-ins on multiple occasions, as well as other DC superheroes throughout the verses. So there is a part in here. We are talking about the Royal Flush Gang with the Queen herself, and then of course all of her little minions with Ace and Jack and King and Tin and Joker. So Royal Flush Gang is definitely a menace to society. Now, as we get further in, we're going to talk about the evolution of Ace and into a very emotional point in not only the Royal Flush Gang's criminal career, but in Batman's vigilante career as well. So, what are your thoughts on when the Royal Flush Gang they actually made their appearance and the type of mayhem they have caused over the years?
Um, well, when I first saw them, it was on that challenge of the Super Friend. No, yeah, challenge of that Super Friends that back in the '80s, the Superpower show wasn't really too, you know, I guess too impressed with him. It was like, we have, some card people dressed up as cards and everything else. It wasn't until later when the Joker was sometimes with them that I found them, you know what I mean, sort of kind of menacing.
Right.
But as time went on and we got different versions of these characters, um, it what really killed me is like it says here, the group was sometimes described as the most original criminals of time of their time,
Right.
and you know you kind of think of all all the campy heroes that we kind of got, and like, like with Joker and Riddler and the Penguin, they have goons or thugs or just henchmen. This
Yep.
gang to itself was it.
Right. Well, and maybe, I mean, and you tell me how you feel about this, but when Joker did, you kind of, affiliate himself with the Royal Flush Gang, whatever. Was it just me, or does it seem like that he kind of took a backseat to the Queen? Like she kind of ran the show with her and the King, and then Joker kind of took a backseat, kind of, he was always, kind of himself, but you could tell they were running the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And that was one of the things, because you would thought that the King was really in charge of the show, but it was really the Queen.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
the Queen herself.
Yeah. There was a couple of shows where the King would betray them and kind of sell them out to do some stuff or whatever else. But
Right.
it was nice to see them transition from comic book to animated TV show to the Arrowverse,
Right.
and then from the Arrowverse to the Flash. And I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, and in that, you gotta take into account that, unless you're a true Batman fan and have followed, the comic books, the animated series, like that. I mean, the movies never touched on the Royal Flush Gang. You always got Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, the big three, as people like to say. Some side
Yeah.
characters, Poison Ivy, Bane, Mr. Freeze, but no one's ever really seen live action the Royal Flush Gang until the Arrowverse brought them into fruition and kind of put them on the small screen, and then everybody started talking about the Royal Flush Gang and how menacing they were and that kind of stuff. And then you truly see in when they move over to Flash and they debut in Flash of how much the Queen controls everything. And I mean, in Arrowverse, I mean, on the Arrow series, she was still putting the she had found her king. She was looking for, her tin and her jacket and everything. So she was pulling them together. But when they went to Flash in 2015, they really came together and they became such a menace that they kept bringing them back onto the show, and they kept highlighting them more because they could do things that would stop the Flash. I mean, the psychic abilities alone of Ace could stop the Flash right in his tracks. So that alone put a hurt on our superheroes.
Now, speaking of that, let's transition to I guess both of ours, we have an admiration for this particular card of the Royal Flush Gang. Flush. I should say, hold on here. Let's see if we get this up there. There we go. This is this character goes from this this strong man, being the muscle of the group,
Right.
to when we get to Batman Beyond, he becomes a robot. But before we get there, we have a metahuman Ace.
Yes.
And she's not a joke.
No. No. And
She
this is in the
is
beginning. This is what I was touching upon.
no
This is
joke
the
at all.
what's that?
Steals the show.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And gives you a whole new respect for Batman as well. I
Yes.
said she steals the show and gives a whole new respect for Batman. You get a whole new level of respect for Batman.
No, absolutely, 100%. And you it makes you hate
Can you hear me?
Amanda Waller even more.
Uh-oh, I think we're having a bit of technical difficulty.
Can you hear me? Detective Rand, are you with me? Folks, stand by. It seems our feed from Gotham may have got a little messed up.
I blame it on the Joker.
He's probably messing something up. Who
I
knows?
blame it on the Joker. Trying to get this to play. I'm hoping I can get it in there good. Let's try this again as we uh-oh. And it's always that little bit of something that really messes everything else up when we're trying to do something.
I
So
hear that.
here we go, guys. This is the scene of scenes.
Yeah.
Did you like playing with my new Royal Flush gang?
Can't say that I did.
Yeah, they aren't any fun at all. I gave them their powers and they still hardly ever play with me.
Can't imagine why.
When I was little, Cadmus used to make me play all kinds of games, but they weren't any fun either. They'd strap me into their machines and poke wires into my brain. Ace, can you move this object with your mind? Yeah, I can move it. They weren't really games, you know. They were training me, turning me into a weapon for justice, they said. They got their weapon. I got cheated out of my childhood.
I know what that's like.
You do, don't you? You don't have to answer. I read your mind. That's how I knew you weren't going to use Mrs. Waller's weapon on me.
No, I wasn't.
You were going to try and talk me into fixing what I've changed. Before I die.
Yes.
I'm dying very soon.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Could you stay with me? I'm scared.
Mm.
Look at that.
God, man.
Oh man.
And this right here.
Did you like playing with my...
That right there. I mean, even right now, I have chills in my arms. Even though it's an animated scene, the fact of you see the compassion from Batman for the fact that Waller ordered her to be killed. Shiara was going to was going to do it. And Batman took the device and went in and was going to talk to her. And Ace looks at him and says, "You don't have to tell me. I read your mind. I know you're not going to use the device on me." She knew who Batman was in real life. And, she told her, "I know how you know how I feel." And the
Yeah.
fact that he sits down next to her and he holds her hand as she dies. And then the end of that scene, for those who want to go back and watch it, is everything changes back to normal and Batman comes walking out and Waller is so upset that he didn't do what he was sent there to do, but he was like, "I did it my way. I did it, in a humane way." That gives you such a respect for Batman and made you hate Amanda Waller that much more.
Yeah, well, Miss Waller, there's not much to like there. You know what I mean? Not at all. But that whole scene, it gave you a look inside of Batman because it is Justice League Unlimited and it's called Epilogue.
Yep.
And it goes through where Terry McGinnis finds out some very impertinent information about him and Batman's relationship, and he's explaining to her that Batman is this a-hole, da da da, he doesn't have any feelings, he doesn't, and she tells him that story.
Right.
And from that point on, he has a better respect for being Batman and for Batman. And it is a hard scene. And a lot of the people on TikTok have put videos to it saying, hey, one of the saddest, no show has the right to be this sad ever, and all this other stuff.
Right.
Because it was such a great scene. DC's animation, and I hate to say it, and I really do. I really hate to say it, but DC's animation is a lot better than DC's movies because they pull the hard stuff out. There is a lot of frank talk. There is a lot of there's a lot of violence, but there's a lot of humanity. There's a lot of
there's a lot of realism to it.
Yes, a lot of realism. A lot of realism.
And that's the thing that if you're not a DC fan and you want to hate on the DC movies, that's your right. That's perfectly fine. But the DC animated movies by far will eclipse the actual live action movies any day of the week. I mean, if you go back and watch anything with between Harley Quinn and Nightwing,
oh my God,
or you go back and you watch anything that with Batman and Batgirl on the roof. I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to say out any
they got so much flack for that. There were so many people that were like, Batman would never do that. And I'm like, you're kidding me. Batman is still a man.
Not to mention, he's known Barbara Gordon since she was, knee high to a grasshopper, for lack of better terms, and he kind of watched her grow up and grow into the woman that she became.
And she pursued him.
Yes, 100%.
She pursued, just like in the Suicide Squad. If you watch it and you watch the first one, you watch the director's cut, because there's a longer version. It's not the cut that the guy is trying to get out now, the director is trying to get out now, but there's a longer version, like an Ultimate Edition version. Joker escapes after shocking Harley, and he's leaving. She jumps on a motorcycle, telling him to pull over, rides the motorcycle, slides it down in front of his car to stay in this dude's way.
Yep.
And we get these crazy fans. Harley needs to be with someone who truly loves her. I'm like, she went after him.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, when she was done with Joker and she pursued Nightwing. Yeah. I mean, Batman told him, you don't know what you're getting into. You shouldn't do this, blah, blah. And he's like, he basically told Batman in no uncertain terms, bleep you, Batman, blah, blah. Like I said, in the very beginning of this, DC animated movies are very raw. They're very realistic. And if you have emotions towards a character, you're going to feel those emotions in those movies. I'll give you an example. Damian Wayne.
Oh, man.
I mean, Damian Wayne is a little bleep hole. He's a little butthole. I mean, he gives Nightwing and Batman and Alfred a run for their money. But what you don't realize is he's the grandson of Ra's al Ghul. And up until he was dropped off by Talia, to Batman said, here, raise your son. He was raised by Ra's al Ghul. He was a trained assassin at the age of 10 years old.
I love it. I started reading the comics, and I couldn't stand this kid, man. I could not stand him. Um, but then, in the comics, Damian goes through all these changes, becomes the Robin, and then gets killed. And Batman goes through so much to bring him back.
Oh yeah,
And that's
Lazarus
where we get
the whole
that
nine
hell,
yards.
that Batman hell armor.
Yes.
Remember the one that's like, killing him as long as he uses it, it starts to, drain his life force.
Absolutely.
But he went back to get his son from hell or whatever dimension or whatever the thing that was holding his soul captive. He went to get him. And that gave me a little bit of more of a respect for Batman with, the whole Damian thing. And I was just like, I was enthralled with that storyline. And then the animated Son of Batman came out.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it. I loved it. I could not get enough of it.
100%.
But
so as we're talking Robins and all of that, some files that we need to explore maybe in our next show or whatever when we come back. I feel like our audience doesn't know the true story behind Red Hood.
Oh, you want to do the Hood, do you?
And well, I'm just saying that we need to break out some files and kind of give an explanation as to why Jason Todd did what he did and why he became such a menace to Batman and to Nightwing. Because what people, again, when it comes to Red Hood, everybody only talks about Batman. They forget about what he did to Nightwing.
Okay. All right. So in 2 weeks, we can come back and we can definitely explore that whole Red Hood thing, because I actually have some paraphernalia of the Red Hoods.
Oh, do you now?
Oh, I believe we have a helmet. We have the jacket and the vest of the Red Hood. Oh yes, we've got quite some evidence in our lockup that we can pull out and actually physically use to show our Gothamites the materials of the Red Hood. So I have a jacket, I have a helmet, I have a vest. Unfortunately, I do have a batarang somewhere around here. I'll look around in the evidence locker for it for our next time. But yeah, man, you hit that right on the head. Red Hood is definitely something that we can go from beginning to end with. And we have a Central City viewer asking us who voiced Batman on the Super Friends. Towards the 80s, we got Adam West to actually voice Batman. Now, during the beginning of that reign, it was somebody else. And when Adam West came on, they changed that guy to the Professor for Firestorm.
Right.
And
Owen Soul was the original voice in Super Friends from the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah. And then, when you get that, I think it was the Challenge of the Super Friends.
Yeah.
Or the Superpowers.
Superpowers.
Superpowers. Yeah. That's when Adam West came on board, and they took that voice for Batman and they put him as the Professor. But what is this? Do you mean next time? This was short. I want to hear more. Well, we're trying to keep it short because the attention span, of a lot of people aren't that long. And Detective Garrett and I do have to get back out to the streets. We take these briefings just to give you guys a little bit of in-depth, especially for those of you who are new to Gotham City. But Detective Garrett's right. We should introduce you to a vigilante known as the Red Hood and give you some insight on where he came from, just a little bit of
and
background.
why he caused Batman to almost kill for the first time.
Oh my God. I cannot wait for that.
So, folks, from D1 and D2, let me tell you this. Tune in 2 weeks for same bat time, same bat channel. You'll get more in-depth evidence on what we like to call the Dogs of Gotham.
Let's do one. Let's do one better. For those of you here in the local 757 area, we'll be doing a giveaway. A Red Hood giveaway.
Ooh. And I guess I'm excluded in on this one. So.
I tell you what. If we do not get either the proper answer or somebody that's really commenting in our comments, I'll let you have it. I'll let you have this piece of evidence that I have. How about that?
Well, we'll have to see what it is, because we may have to keep it in the evidence locker just for safekeeping. But
I don't think James Gordon will understand. He'll notice that it'd be missing.
Oh, it's that. Okay. Yeah. But I tell you what, and Marky Mark, Mr. Agent of Metropolis.
Special Agent Mark
Mr. Mark,
Metropolis.
is asking if we're going to bring this to MarsCon. Not this year, but maybe next year. We might do this, but right now we're trying to fill out the waters and see what the response is on this, and if it continues to be this positive, then you can expect to see a much larger display of what the files can look like on some of the vigilantes and the villains of Gotham.
Yeah, and some of the unknown ones, like the Question, the Huntress.
The Huntress is one that a lot of people probably don't know a lot about, and we could even step into some of the older versions of the Birds of Prey.
Oh, definitely. Another one that I would like to do is Azrael.
Oh, absolutely, 100%
Azrael. We also have a great file page. It is called Azrael of Saint Dumas.
Yes,
that is one of our pages. The Detective Garrett and I are also on that page, and hopefully we get enough response so we can keep doing this. But I can tell you this much: next week, when we in 2 weeks when we do come back, we will have a giveaway for one of you lucky contestants. And of course, again, if none of you get it, Detective Garrett has already said it stays in the evidence locker, so it'll be up to you to get this nice prize. But we do have some stuff from the evidence locker that we'll be showing you live on camera. I have a helmet. I have a jacket. I was just lucky enough to get it from a crime scene. Cleaned it up, put it in evidence after it was.
You were able to get all the blood off of it?
Yeah, I had to, and repair some of the bullet holes.
Okay.
So with that being said, it is time for us to go, folks. Stay safe out there. And remember, Gotham City is not a city for the weak.
We're always watching.